That's better. The Middle Colonies, a goldmine of interesting facts and histories. The Middle Colonies include New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, but that does not mean that they were established at the same time. Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey all became states in December 1787, and New York became a state in July of 1788.
By 1660, England had two clusters of colonies: Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Rhode Island in the north, and Maryland and Virginia in the south. In between these colonies were the Dutch islands. In 1621, a group of Dutch merchants had formed the Dutch West India Company to trade in the Americas. Their post along the Hudson River would soon grow into the colony of New Netherland. The main settlement of this colony was New Amsterdam, located on Manhattan Island.
New Amsterdam was a very iconic place in the Middle Colonies' history. The Dutch really prospered with this colony. Little did they know that they would have a problem and end up losing this land.
In 1626, the company bought Manhattan from the Manhattan's people for beads and other goods. Soon enough, it became a center of shipping to and from the Americas. To increase the number of permanent settlers, the Dutch West India Company sent over families from the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, and Finland. They gave a large estate to people who brought in 50 settlers or more to the land. These people were called patroons. Patroons ruled their estates like kings and even had their own courts and laws. Settlers owned the patroon labor and a share of their crops. In 1664, the English sent a fleet to take over New Amsterdam. Peter Stuyvesant led New Amsterdam, and many people went against him. When the English went to New Amsterdam, Stuyvesant was unprepared and surrendered to the English. Charles II gave New Amsterdam to his brother, the Duke of York, who renamed it to New York. New York was a proprietary colony, a colony in which the owner, or proprietor, owned all the land and controlled the government. Most of New York settlers lived in the Hudson River Valley. The Duke of York promised the colonists freedom of religion. In 1654, 23 Brazilian Jews had settled in New York. Here we have I'm a historian to explain the diversity of New York.
New York had about 8,000 people. They had Dutch people, Germans, Swedes, Native Americans, and Peruvians from New England, and Jews. New York had at least 300 enslaved Africans. It was one of the fastest growing locations in the colony.
By 1683, the colony's population had about 12,000 people. A governor and council appointed by the Duke of York directed the colony's affairs. However, the colonists wanted a representative government like the governments of New England and the other English colonies. The Duke resisted the idea, but the people would not give up. Finally, in 1691, the English government allowed New York to elect a legislature. The Duke of York gave the southern part of his colony, which was between the Hudson and Delaware rivers, to Lord John Berkeley and Sir George Carteret. The proprietors named their colony New Jersey, after the island of Jersey in the English Channel, where Carteret was born. Like New York, New Jersey was a place of ethnic and religious diversity. However, New Jersey had no natural harbors, so it did not develop a major port city like New York. Here we have Barbara Shields from the Universidad de Historiadores to explain about New Jersey's way of life.
New Jersey was a smaller version of New York. It was a very diverse place. However, these proprietors were not doing as well as they thought they would. So, they sold their colony and it came back into the hands of their king, thus becoming a royal colony. These colonists were still able to make laws, though.
By 1702, New Jersey had been passed back to the hands of the king, becoming a royal colony until 1787. In 1680, William Penn, a wealthy Englishman, presented a plan to King Charles. Penn's father had once lent the king a great amount of money. Penn had inherited the king's promise to repay that loan. Instead of money, though, Penn asked for land. Pleased to get rid of his debt, the king gave Penn a tract of land stretching inland from the Delaware River. The new colony, called Pennsylvania, was as large as England. Penn belonged to a group called the Society of Friends, otherwise known as the Quakers. These people believed that everybody had that inner light in them that could guide them to salvation. Each person could experience religious truth differently, which meant that church officials and services were not to be needed. Everyone was equal according to God. Though they were serious about their beliefs, they were considerate about others' beliefs. Here we have New Zoo House from the Institute of Middle Colony Historians.
William Penn and the Quakers believed things that the church officials did not understand. They knew that these people would be a threat to the church services because, according to the Quakers, their services are not to be needed.
England believed that these people were a threat to their religious traditions. Quakers were fined, jailed, and even executed because of what they believed in. William saw Pennsylvania as a holy experiment. He saw it as a chance for the Quakers to put their beliefs to work. In 1682, he sailed to America to supervise the building in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Penn believed that any government is free to the people under it, where the laws rule and the people are a party to those laws. Penn had planned Philadelphia, making him America's first town planner. He also wrote Pennsylvania's first constitution. Penn believed that the land belonged to the Native Americans and that the settlers that came there should have to pay for it. In 1682, he negotiated the first of several treaties with Native Americans. By 1683, more than 3,000 English, Welsh, Irish, Dutch, and German settlers had arrived. In 1701, in the Charter of Liberties, Penn granted the colonists the right to elect representatives to the Legislative Assembly. The southernmost part of Pennsylvania was called the Three Lower Counties. Settled by Swedes in 1638, the area had been taken over by the Dutch and English before becoming the southern part of Pennsylvania. The Charter of Privileges allowed people from this colony to form their own legislature. They agreed to do this in 1704. Thereafter, the colony functioned as a separate colony known as Delaware, supervised by the Pennsylvania's governor. The middle colonies of today are not much different than the middle colonies back in the days. They are still very diverse and still very free indeed. They do not have the king ruling over them after the Revolutionary War has happened. Things have changed, things have stayed the same. We are still able to worship freely and live our own lives. Either way, people in the middle colonies have created their own stories and helped shape the beautiful middle colonies that exist today.
It's the dream.
Toward John Berkeley and Sir George Carteret. The proprietors named their colony New Jersey after the island of Jersey in the English Channel, where Carteret was born.